Hi everybody, how's it going? It's Shane here. I just wanted to give a little heads up. You remember when I said I was going to a wedding somewhere, and then I said that I was going to record some episodes on the way there and maybe even on the way back, and just have like little bonus episodes, and they were meant to. You really can't see myself when I pop up like that. They were just meant to make up for lost time and lost episodes, because there were a few weeks where I didn't record an episode, and I did actually do that. I did record 2 episodes, one on the drive up to the wedding and one on the drive back. And I was using an external microphone that I bought from a friend, and it was used, so I've never used it before. I don't know how to work it. My theory on what happened during the videos were I turned the microphone on, but I don't think I ever actually hit record. So the audio that was captured was from my phone, not from the microphone. And so when I threw it into Premiere and I'm looking at it, I realized, I'm like, oh, the audio sounds awful. Like you can hear the wind, of the car and everything like that. You can hear all that. It's not too hard to hear what I'm saying, but there's just so much background noise. I'm just like, oh man, these are kind of ruined. But I've had a lot of technical difficulties in the past, and I think what I've learned is I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I've realized that little problems like this are enough to make me want to throw it away, and I don't want to do that. So I'm like, you know what? I'll release the 2 episodes. They're not too long. They're maybe like 15 minutes long, I think. And they don't have a whole lot of editing in them. It's mostly just one full shot. I just did some basic cuts to throw out some parts that I didn't just want in there. But for the most part, it's just one whole thing. And they're not meant to be super high quality. So I just wanted to apologize to anyone who's watching. And, if you notice that, which you are going to notice it, you're going to notice the audio. So I just wanted to apologize and say, hey, I didn't realize you had to hit record on the microphone too. I thought you could just plug it in, turn it on, and it would just automatically do it. It turns out you have to hit record. So my apologies. So I have 2 episodes that I'm going to be releasing. I'm releasing one tonight. I'm saying this as of Tuesday night. So one of them is going to be released tonight, and the other one will maybe be released tomorrow or Thursday, depending on how quickly I can get it done. So I just wanted to give those little warnings and just say, hey, sorry about that. Sorry that all of that is going on. And I will try to figure out these technical issues so that they don't happen again in the future. But in general, just I'm sorry, and I hope you guys can still enjoy the episodes. So I'll see you all when I see you, and have a good week.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Cornerstone, the show where we attempt to navigate our culture through a biblical lens. As always, and until further notice, I am your host, Shane Kai. I am now on my way to the wedding that I told you guys I would be going to last week. And I know I said I wanted to record a couple of miniature episodes on my drive up there, as well as while I'm up there. I don't know. So this is one of those episodes. So today I want to talk about marriage, because this is on topic for the wedding. I want to talk specifically to the guys about this one, and I want to talk to you about how to navigate your life, how to live your life with marriage as the goal, and just so we're clear, I'm not married, okay? So just if that's too much for you, you're like, oh great, another unmarried marriage counselor. If that's something you don't like, you can go ahead and stop watching. But I'm not married. This is just information that I have heard from all these different people that I've listened to over the years, different people that have given me advice and just kind of guided me through life. So I want to repeat it here in this setting. So this is typically for guys only. I mean, girls, you can watch if you want. We're going to be talking about some sensitive guy topics, so I don't mind if you watch. But because it's not like you're too young for it. Like you're old enough to hear this kind of stuff. but I am speaking to the guys specifically. So I remember I went to a church group a little while ago, and the topic was about personalities, like personality types, and how God can use different personalities. And we were focusing on the I don't know what the name of it is. I think it's called the 16 personality test or whatever, where you're given like a code, and the code corresponds to like a type, like an archetype. And we were talking about, the difference between introverts and extroverts, and what introverts are like and what extroverts are like, and, their strengths and weaknesses. And obviously I'm not going to talk about personalities today, but at some point during that conversation, the sage that I was talking to was saying, like, before I met my wife, I decided to buy a book, and I wrote in that book everything that I wanted God to bring me in a wife. And I started listing them, like, most important to not as important. And he said it started small, because I was just, the first time I tried to write it, I started by doing things that were unnecessary, like talking about physical looks and things like that. But then I realized I needed to start it again, so he tried it again this time, and he started writing the actual important things that you would need in a wife. Well, no. Keep the glasses on. So I think the first thing he put on there was that his wife, he wants a girl that loves God, right? That's number one. But number two was interesting. Number two was kind of the same thing as number one, but reiterated. And he said, I want a girl who loves God so much more than me. So those are two different things that he asked for. And I'm not going to list off every single thing that he said, but the point is, I think as men, I've grown to like that idea, and I'm like, wow, that's such a cool idea, and maybe you could even show that to your wife later on. Like once you get married 10, 20 years down the line, you can open up that book and say that I wrote this, 20 years ago when I didn't know you, and I was asking God for all these things. So I want to encourage the men. I want to say, hey, take the time. You don't have to do it all in one day. Just make it a weekly project or a monthly project, or maybe do it over the course of the rest of your life until you find your wife, right? Start logging all of the things that you want God to bring you in a wife. And see what God can do. That's the goal, is just see what God will do. You might be surprised. God might surprise you. You might write something down and be like, oh, I kind of want this. And then God will give you something that is not exactly like what you wrote, but you realize it's so much better than what you wrote. You're like, wow, I didn't even think about this, and God gave me this, So I want to give that as encouragement. It's like, hey, take the time. Go buy a book, an empty book. Go get a pen and start writing all of the things that you want in a wife, in a girl. For me, I'll give a couple examples, right? I know some people might think this is weird, and that's totally fine for you to think that. This is what I want in a wife, not what you want in a wife. For me, I come from somewhat of a broken home, okay? I had parents that didn't really pay much attention to me growing up. Now, let me clarify. When I say I came from a broken home, it's not a divorced home, okay? I did grow up with two parents, a mom and a dad. But growing up from the age of maybe 11 all the way to 18, my dad especially was not present in my life socially, or just, he wasn't really present at all. I remember going through the entirety of my Boy Scout journey, from Cub Scouts to Eagle Scout. I can probably count the amount of times my dad participated in something with me on one hand, and still have like 2 or 3 fingers left, right? So, and that upset me back then. It doesn't upset me now because it's too late, but back then I was really upset by that because, you know, like, Boy Scouts is supposed to be a journey between the father and the son, and for me it was just me, right? There was no one else. And so I think about that sometimes, and I wish that my dad had been more present in my life. And now I'm at a point where I'm 25 years old. You know, my dad still doesn't pay attention to me, but you know, that honestly at this point I think it's a good thing. But I'm not as invested anymore, and I don't care as much, so I'm not concerned about it. So the fact that my dad doesn't pay attention to me, my dad doesn't really talk to me just for fun. Like, anytime he has something to say to me, it's usually because I did something wrong and he needs to correct it, or he needs something from me. So he doesn't really talk to me at all, and he never like really makes any effort to spend time with me. It seems like he never really says anything nice to me, like, at all. Like, it seems like the majority of the time that when he, like, it seems like pretty much any time he opens his mouth, it's going to be something negative about me. It's not going to be positive. It's not going to be encouraging or loving. It's just going to be like, hey, you did this thing wrong, don't do it anymore. Or, hey, you know, you keep forgetting to do this thing that I tell you over and over. You keep forgetting this. Like, what are you, stupid? And like, that is not an exaggeration. My dad has called me stupid on multiple occasions. And thank God I'm where I am now, because when he calls me stupid, I don't care. I'm like it just falls, that kind of insult falls so flat on me. I really don't care what my dad has to say about me. It's a good thing too. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. The point is, I come from somewhat of a broken home. I come from a hurt. I'm very hurt and damaged when it comes to my parents. And I might be weird for saying this, but I would really want to find a girl who can relate to me with that. I would want to find a girl who also has issues with their parents and who also comes from somewhat of a broken home. And maybe they were also neglected as a child. Neglected as in, like, I don't mean like with the important things like food, clothing, shelter. I don't mean any of that. I mean neglected just like you didn't feel like you were wanted there. No one felt like no one made you feel like you were wanted in the room, you know? I would love to meet a girl and marry a girl like that, because I feel like our relationship together could be stronger and we could bond together through that pain. So call me weird. You're like, why? Like, why would you want someone who's broken? I would want someone who's broken because I'm broken. I don't want someone to be fit. I don't want a perfect girl, because then I'm just going to bring her down, you know? And it'd probably make me feel even worse if I go to her parents' place and they're all like lovey-dovey with her, you know? I would want to meet someone who's like, yeah, I don't really want to be around my parents either. You know, I would be fine if we didn't invite my parents to the wedding or whatever. Like, that's a girl that I would want to be with, because I feel like I would be able to bond with her and I'd be able to connect with her on that. So that's something I would write down. I'd say, look, God, I know it's weird. I know it sounds weird, but I want a girl who's just as broken as I am. I don't want a fixed up girl. I don't want a girl who is living life on a high note. I don't want that. I don't want that. I want a girl who's broken. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why I came up with that conclusion. I don't. It was actually kind of a recent thought. I never really thought that before until like a couple months ago, where I was like, I need this. Like, this is what I need. So I would encourage you, men, to write down the things that you want to find in a girl. You want God to bring you in a girl. Okay, so moving on. Another thing to do as a man in preparation for marriage is to understand the role to understand the multiple roles a man has throughout his life. I went through a book with a group of friends at church. I don't remember what the book is called. When I'm editing this video, I'll put the book up so that you guys can find it if you want to buy it too. It's a fantastic book that talks about the different stages of a man's life and how a man, when he's a child, he's just learning about the world, he's recognizing patterns, he's finding hobbies, he's just having fun, he's just exploring the world from a child's perspective. You know, then when you become a teenager and a young adult, you become like the cowboy, and that's what it's called. The cowboy stage is like you start getting your first sense of independence, and you start to explore the world for yourself. You start to explore the world for yourself, and you start going on your own adventures, right? That's the cowboy. Then you have the lover. The lover is the one who's beginning to settle down and find a girl to be with. And the lover is the one who loves the woman, right? That's the lover stage, and building the marriage. After the lover, you have the king. The king is someone who reigns over his kingdom, and his kingdom is his children as well as his wife. And then after the king, you become the sage. And I know I mentioned that term before, sage. You're probably like wondering, you said, oh, you were talking to a sage. What does that mean? Well, the sage is the stage of your life when you are old, your children have moved out of their house already, your children are building their own families. You are no longer a king because you don't necessarily have a kingdom. Your goal is now to guide others as they build their own kingdoms. You are the sage, right? And so I would study these roles immensely, and I would try to figure out what stage of life you are in right now. For me, I'm in the cowboy stage currently. So I'm still trying to explore life and go on my own adventures. Unfortunately, my dad has not allowed me to do that as much as I would like to, because he keeps me at a job that isn't helping my career or helping my life. It's mostly helping him. So I haven't been able to go on my own adventures a whole lot, but eventually I will. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to be the lover anytime soon. So I think I'll be a cowboy for a while. But try to figure out what stage of life you're in right now. And, to be fair, sometimes not every man has the opportunity to live out every stage. Sometimes we are wrongfully skipped. Like sometimes some stages are wrongfully skipped. Sometimes some men don't get the opportunity to be a cowboy. Some men don't get the opportunity to be a lover, right? So these stages aren't guaranteed. And at the same time, some of them are, you get two at the same time. Sometimes you're a cowboy and a lover at the same time. So just try to figure out where you are in life, what stage you're in life, and just understand the responsibilities and the opportunities that each stage comes with. That is another piece of advice. And when I am editing this video, I'll put a link in the description to the book, as well as the link on screen, so that you guys can take a look at the book. It's a great book, really highly recommend it. And yeah, you guys can read it. The third thing I wanted to talk about, and this is the last topic before I cut off the video, is pornography. Okay, I know I've talked about pornography a little bit in the past. Talking about how, the three waves of failure and what failure means, and which, by the way, that's a really good episode. I think that is probably one of my best episodes so far. If you haven't watched it yet, please go watch it. It's called The Three Waves. I think it's like episode 6 or something like that. And it is all about what it means to fail and how we as a society have misinterpreted the meaning of failure to be something else entirely. Failure is not what we originally thought, and when we understand the true meaning of failure, it's actually way more encouraging to us, because we realize that we haven't been failing this whole time. And anyway, I'm not going to get into it, but great video. So I talked about pornography a little bit, and how it's terrifying, and how it brings you down, and you feel defeated every time you give into it. You give into, whether it's just pornography, or you're actually masturbating, or whatever it is, you're giving into that, and it sucks. It pulls you down. But I want to talk about it in the context of marriage. The same sage that I was speaking to before said to me during his speech, he said, if you're a man and you're lonely, and you don't have a girlfriend, you're not in a relationship or whatever, and you're wondering, why am I lonely? How come God's not giving me a girlfriend? How come God's not bringing any girls into my life? Ask yourself this. Are you still watching pornography? If the answer is yes, then I can give you a solid answer. I can give you an answer right now. God is not giving you a girlfriend. God is not bringing a relationship for you, because that would be the worst thing for not only you, but also for the girl. Why would God intentionally bring a girl into your life so that you could be close to her when there is still a monster living inside of you? A monster that is going to destroy and ruin everything in a relationship like that. Why would God do that? God is protecting your future wife from yourself. So, like I was saying, why would God bring a girl into your life when there is still a monster living inside of you? And that monster is pornography. That's my point, okay? That is why you don't have a girlfriend. That is why you're not in a relationship. That is why you haven't found someone that you can love yet. Because there is still a monster who is living inside of you, and God is purposefully keeping you away from your future wife for her sake. Also for your sake too. There are, things that he's protecting you from, but I would argue he's mostly protecting the girl. He's protecting the girl that he has for you from you, because you have an unchecked monster, right? And that monster, like I said, is pornography. So you're still watching pornography on a regular basis. You're still addicted to it. You're still masturbating on a regular basis, right? This is stuff that is going to ruin a marriage if left unchecked. So, answer me that. Why would God give you a girlfriend if that's still happening? The way I think about it, whenever I get tempted to look at pornography, or whenever I got tempted to give in to the lust of the flesh, whenever I get tempted to do those things, I need to go get gas. I don't think I'm doing this for me. I think I'm doing this for her. I'm doing this. I'm abstaining. I'm fighting against this. I'm refusing to feed the wolf that lives inside of me. Not for my benefit, but for her benefit. Because if I don't, I'm going to ruin her life. That's not to say that you can't get a girlfriend. You can still get a girlfriend, but it won't be from me. God's going to say that. He's going to say, hey, you might have a girlfriend right now, but she's not one of mine. I didn't bring her. I didn't bring her to you. So just let that sink in. So there you go. Those are 3 things. We talked about pornography and how that just cannot exist in a godly marriage. We talked about the roles of a man and the opportunities and responsibilities that each role comes with and how you should understand and study them. And then the first thing we talked about was what you want in a girl. Or, if you're a girl, then what you want in a guy, right? So what you want in your spouse. Logging all these things just for you and God, like, hey, asking God and telling God, these are the things that I want in a girl. It doesn't mean that if you write it down that God's going to give you everything that you want, but it might help you. It might be a good exercise to help you learn what it is that you actually want in a girl, and it might help you realize that some things aren't as important as others. So you might be writing things down, and then once you get to the 20th or 21st thing, you might think, man, the 10th thing that I wrote, now that I think about it, it's not that important. You know what? The 10th thing I wrote was, I want a girlfriend who's blonde. And you realize, you know what? It's not that important. It's really not. So I'm going to cross that off, and I'm going to write something else in the 10th place, So those are the 3 things that we talked about. And all of these things I'm saying all of these things purely to prepare you for marriage. It's just to get you on a good path in life for marriage. That's why I was talking about this. So, thank you. So, because I'm driving and I can't really do anything else other than talk and pay attention to the road, I am not going to do any devotional, and I'm also not going to be doing any prayer requests because I usually write my prayer requests down and I can't access them right now. So, plus, I'm going to be making 3 episodes over the weekend, and that's a lot of prayer requests. I don't know if I have that many. So I'm just going to keep it to topics only, and that way the episodes can be much shorter. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. I just reached 50 subscribers, which is a great milestone for myself. And now we're on to the next milestone, which is 100 subscribers. All right, let's do it, guys. Let's hit 100 subscribers. If you have any questions for me, whether they are biblical, philosophical, cultural, social, personal, whatever it is, doesn't matter. If you have any questions, you want to talk to me about anything, leave them in the comment section below. I love talking to people and I love answering questions no matter what. There's no such thing as a stupid question. And that'd be a lot of fun. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out my past videos. I have a playlist of all of the other episodes of Cornerstone in case you have missed any, or for some reason they just didn't show up on your feed. They're all right there. Go ahead and check them out. Anyway, I hope you all have a fantastic day. I will see you all later, and have a blessed week. See ya.